I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All directors are present. Approval of the agenda. Mr. Bartz, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda tonight.
I'll move the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Moving on to number 2, public comment. Are there any members of the public here for public comment?
There are no members of the general public here or on Zoom for public comment.
All right, thank you. Community reports. I see that we have CERT in the room. So Bonnie, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay, good evening. I am Bonnie Butler with the Opinion. Feeling? Huh?
Button.
Is it on?
Okay, good.
Is it,
Talk into it.
there's a light.
Yeah, but we can't hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. I am Bonnie Butler. I am from the Phelan Pinyon Hills Community Emergency Response Team, or PPH CERT for short. Our recent classes that we had were April 30th, May 7th, and May 14th, 2022. Out of that class consisted of 11 students under 18 years of age. One of them was 12, and she was the best student. I hate to tell you. 17 received certificates. So 17 out of, we started with, I don't know, I want to say 35. And we knew as it went along, it would happen. And out of them, 7 will become CERT members as soon as we can get to the last thing and they fire up the swearing in stuff. Okay, we have recently changed our meetings to the first Thursday of every month at 6:30 p.m. here in the Phelan Community Center, and they are open to the public. So anybody wishes to come in, learn something, like this week we'll be splinting, tomorrow night we'll be splinting, and then our next meeting in July will be training a temporary evacuation point, or a TEP, which is if the Red Cross can't make it, we open up a shelter. And Red Cross trained us to do this in their own way, but we'll do it our way anyway. So, and our next meeting next month that I put this July 7th, and we will be at the Desert Gateway Summerfest on Saturday the 4th. The CERT team will be there. So if anybody wants to come by, say hi, sign up for future classes for the fall or anything like that, come on down there. It's off of Highway 138 at Casa Ortega. Most of us know where that is. So that's pretty much what I have right now until we get further down the line. But I want to let everybody know that first Thursday of the month, 6:30.
Except this month.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I thought you said it was next week.
No, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should pay attention.
And that'll be it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Good to see you. All right, we will move to Sheriff.
Good evening, Sergeant Paul Sawyer from the Victor Valley Sheriff Station. See the stats for last month in the Phelan area. There were 676 total calls for service. 98 of those, there were reports taken. Out of those reports, 14 arrests were made. Some of those that were reported also were we served 8 search warrants on marijuana grows. 3 of those were closed out with arrests. The other 4 were closed out as reports. In the Pinion Hills area, there were 212 calls for service, 28 total reports taken. Out of those 28, 10 arrests were made, and there were 4 search warrants served on marijuana grows with 4 arrests made. Questions?
Any questions?
Just a thank you for continuing to work on the growth.
Absolutely.
You said there was eight marijuana.
Yes, 8 marijuana search warrants in the Phelan area.
And 4 in Pinion Hills.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasant evening. Thank you.
All right. We will move on to County Supervisor. Sam, I see you online there.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good evening so far. Sorry, I shook my camera. I don't have much of an update for everyone today. Mainly just here. I want to listen into the reports and the budget and all that. But if anyone has any questions, of course, I'm here to answer however I can.
All right. Any questions for Sam?
Oh, thanks,
No?
Sam.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. And I don't see anyone from fire. Mr. Anderson, Mojave Water Agency. Good to see you.
Good evening. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Kim, can
I
I?
can't hear you, Ken.
Volume.
Volume.
Hello?
Volume.
More volume.
Yes, please.
How's that for volume? Doesn't help? No volume, huh?
No, can hardly hear you. Yell.
Wow. Okay. No.
That works.
Yeah. All right. Is this loud enough? Wow.
John, can you?
Give us a second. We'll turn up the volume on our end.
Okay. Can I do a presentation, Kim?
Yes, you can. One moment.
You are so good.
Go ahead and say something
Sorry.
else, Ken.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
That's better.
All right. Looks like we have a delay in the video too, but
Okay.
you don't care about that anyway. All right. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Can you?
Gosh, that's a very tough question, Charlie.
Sorry, that was rude. I apologize.
No.
I forgot you can actually hear me.
You know, I still understand and recognize your voice. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, great. I was hoping to have Mr. Tony Winkle tonight, our hydrologist, but that did not work out, but I thought I'd come anyway. I will reschedule him for a Pinion Hills recharge and retention basin update. I thought you would be interested in that. But instead, I thought I would at least review what we got last month from the State Water Project update on the drought situation in California. I know it's obvious, but a few statistics, maybe it'll be interesting to you. So as you can see in the right there, the entire western half of the United States is in a drought condition, much lower than average participation to this date. And on the left shows specific areas. Mostly April was a very bad month for several areas in northern, southern, and southeast portion of the state. This is probably more of a chart that you can look at and kind of get a true idea. This is Northern California. Average participation on the right is in the light blue bars. Of course, we thought the year was going to start out great in October and December. We had some pretty good storms, but the spring has truly let us down. So we're much lower than average, which is in the dark blue dashes there. If you look on the left, we see that average rainfall in the northern Sierras is supposed to be 53 inches. And we're at about 19 inches as of April 12th. So much lower than normal. Southern Central Sierras is about the same. Average is 39.9 inches, and we're at 15.4 inches as of April. It's second driest year on record at this point. And spend maybe a little bit more time on the Southern Sierras. This is probably more important to us. Again, the rainy season started out pretty good, but no spring storms. So average should be 28.3 inches. And as of April, it's at 10.9 inches. Our snowpack, of course, it's almost gone at this point, but in April, the state average is normally about 100 inches still. And we are about at 23 inches, which of course is 25% of normal. So not a lot of good output on our rainy season this year. This obviously is outdated. Our reservoirs are pretty low. They are at approximately 30 to 40% is the average, and we're normally closer to 70% in our normal typical year. So water in the reservoirs are much lower also. The main reservoir for MWA in the high desert is the San Luis Reservoir. It has the capacity of over 2 million acre feet, and we're currently about half of that at 931,608 acre feet, excuse me. We normally would be around 54%, but we're at 46%. In the reservoir, approximately 15,000 acre feet is MWA water. We actually, at our last meeting, we allocated between 4,000 and 5,000 acre feet to be sold to other agencies that are in emergency situations. This is at about $200 or $2,000 an acre foot, which is about 4 times average.
Low, sell high.
Yes, we are able to take advantage of that. We are maintaining in the reservoir over 11,000 acre cubic feet, which is the MWA board's minimum required emergency storage that we have in that reservoir. Of course, we do rely a lot on our local storage, which we do have about 130,000 acre feet in our various sub areas, mostly in Alto. But we use that in years like this because we don't get it from the state aquifers. We are from the aqueduct. We use our own aquifers and recharge it at hopefully lower rates. With us having multiple years of drought, there is some concern, but we also are taking 5,000 acre feet and recharging the Barstow area, which has seen a substantial drop in their water well levels in order to keep production going in that area. Last slide, table A allocations. Of course, we originally started December with 0 allocations other than the human health and safety needs that are taken care of outside of the standard allotment. Of course, everybody was giddy in January. We thought we were going to get at least 15%. And of course, in March, we got our final number. It's 5% of our table A allocation. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the state water project is concerned. That's all I have to present tonight, unless there's questions that I can answer. We'll go from there.
Yeah, Ken, I have a question. It's Mark Roberts. So the judge in the adjudication has absolute authority over all of the entities within the adjudication to ramp down as, you know, Water Master suggests, and then he sees fit. Is that correct?
The only change I would say is really the Water Master is following previous decision from the judge And we are implementing what he is expecting and getting his final decision on our suggestion, correct?
Okay, so at the last board meeting, we reviewed the emergency declarations put out by Sacramento and Newsom about water conservation and all this stuff. And they identified de minimis users as people using 2 acre feet or less. The Mojave currently is at 10. Since we're all being ramped down, does the judge have the authority to ramp down de minimis users?
Good question.
That is a good question. At this point,
And if not, why not? Because we're getting ramped down.
yes, there has been discussion by the board to look at the smaller users. But at this point, the adjudication only includes the 10 acre feet and above. What we do is we look on a regular basis, a yearly basis, if not more, for those who are coming into that 10 acre feet, and we include them into adjudication. But at this point, we do not, we are flirting with it with some of the things that we are initiating because of the recent growth in marijuana. We recently just did an ordinance that requires all new wells. If that is approved by the judge, we will be basically all new well owners will have a 1 acre foot minimum that they will pay that will go to the overdraft issue. And it only applies to those new well owners. That's what we felt like we could get approved at this time. But there is a chance, and it's this week that they're actually going back to the judge, and it may open up the smaller users.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions?
So, Mr. Anderson, could I ask the question a little bit differently? Does the board, this Mojave board, or the board sitting as the water master, do they have the ability to make a recommendation to the court, or is it statutory that this minimum is 10 acre feet?
As I understand it, Mr. Johnson, my understanding is that the judge has what we are initiating is what already has been accepted by the court. And we are following that as best as we know. Part of the wording of the adjudication provides us to add those who come into play. We have, to this date, we have stayed with the 10 acre feet. We are opening it up to these new well owners, and we could have, I guess we have the ability to suggest to the court that we want to open that up to a larger field of participants. The problem is the cost involved does not, at this point, does not seem to be, cost benefit is not there.
Okay.
As we continue to do our annual survey of those, the aerials, obviously the marijuana grow has been, disturbed kind of all averages. And so we are addressing that right now, but we are also looking at, other opportunities.
Would that mean that the small users would have to be metered?
We chose to do the all new wells are going to be treated as 1 acre, what the current price for 1 acre feet, just to keep the cost down. There was a lot of discussion about the possibility of metering, and there has been discussion with some of the larger users that feel like they're 8 and 9 acre feet, but not to the 10 acre feet. And they're fighting our, calculations. And we have suggested to them that if they would add a meter, we would be able to alleviate that problem. But those are some of the things that have been discussed.
I'm sure they're not happy about that.
Well, and to make every new well owner do a meter, and all the extra has not been something that we at this point have been recommending.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, it's been a while since I had a chance to talk with you, but a while back, I had asked you a question to follow up, and you asked the question to Mr. Wagner about what would we have to do in OS Day to demonstrate that we were not in overdraft. And I really just want to thank you for asking the question in the first place, because nobody seems to want to, get into that. But the answer was, I guess, was obvious when you think about it. It was, well, when the hydrological maps show they're no longer going down, I guess was the answer. Is that a fair representation of his response?
To simplify it greatly, yes. Obviously, I believe on average your wells have gone down a little bit each year. If we can prove, that they are not going down and they're actually maybe even rising a little bit, that is definitely justification for us to go back and saying your calculations are not 100% correct. And I believe if you save also part of that question for Tony Winkle, we can ask him about, what equipment and what metering information might be gained by this new retention basin, and that we're doing the turnout that we're working on for Pinyon Hills.
Well, thanks again for being our advocate.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Anderson. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Mr. Fish, do you want to turn down the speaker before someone else speaks?
Yeah.
I'd rather not lose my hearing.
What little I have left, I want to keep.
Right. All right. And to round off community reports, I don't see Ryan Holman from the school district. So we will move on to item number 3, consent items. Does anyone have any items they would like to pull?
I'd like to have a hopefully brief discussion on the minutes.
Okay, so pull 3A, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion to approve?
All motion.
I'll second.
All right. So all in favor of the motion to approve the consent items, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. So number 4, matters removed from consent items. Board minutes. Charlie?
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. In the minutes, item G in the minutes, discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2022-17. This has to do with the remote teleconferencing. I actually made the motion to adopt staff recommendation. I went back and listened to the recording to make sure I was correct in what I had remembered. And so the minutes reflect that I moved to adopt the resolution without any changes, which means the staff recommendation was to stop Zoom meetings in July. Is that correct, Ms. Ward?
Yes, that was a suggestion.
Okay. So the motion, I made the motion and I think I screwed up. I don't think I really wanted that motion, but that's what I did. And so I went back and listened to the discussion among the board members. And it seemed to me the board members had a different general view. Even though they did approve the item. But when I listened to the discussion, it sounded like we had a consensus of the board that we would like to continue Zoom meetings into the future, given whatever state law might come along affecting the Brown Act, which is not what we passed. Follow what I'm saying?
Is that not what we passed? We passed that we were going to continue.
Till June
No, we
30th, and
Yeah,
then we bring
so-
it
and
back
we'll vote
again.
again.
My understanding of
To be every month.
the action taken was we are going to continue to adopt these resolutions every 30 days
Yeah.
until the law changes or
Something.
till we can't adopt them anymore.
Right.
So as long as we're allowed to bring forward the resolutions to allow remote meetings, we're going to. And so
But-
the motion was to adopt the resolution.
But the staff recommended that we move, that we have remote meetings, and I'm looking at the agenda for the last meeting.
So the staff report, it did mention that in the body of the text of the staff report, but the recommendation item was to adopt the resolution, should the board desire to continue holding remote meetings.
Okay, well, maybe it's just my own ignorance or something, but the last paragraph of the agenda item for last meeting states, and I quote, "Staff recommends the board authorize remote meetings per AB 361 until June 30th, 2022, and then move to in-person public and board participation only thereafter."
The formal staff recommendation in the top line of the memo just referenced adopting the resolution.
So why do you confuse me?
Because it's fun. No, it was just for a discussion point.
Right.
We adopted the correct thing,
Yeah, so
Charlie.
you.
So we're going to revisit it
The
again.
recommendation, should the board, okay, fine, as long as we still have Zoom meetings, that was my concern. Okay, thank you.
All right.
And with that, I'll move approval of the minutes.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right. Number 5, no presentations and appointments. So we move on to 6A, public hearing on the 2022-23 budget fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Switch papers. All right, I declare that the public hearing on the proposed adoption of the final budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 is now open at 6:28 PM. May we have the secretary's report, please?
Yes, at this time, I would like to report that the district received 0 written protests, objections, or comments on the proposed adoption of the final budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Thank you. May we please have the attorney's report, Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you, Madam President. Notice of the public hearing was published in the Mountaineer Progress on May 12th, 19th, and 26th of 2022. The notice of public hearing was posted in the district office and on the district website on May 12th, 2022. Copies of the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget have been made available in the district office and website in accordance with applicable law. Therefore, the district has complied with all of the legal requirements for this hearing within the manner and time specified in the government code.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you. The board reviewed the draft budget detail at several public meetings, including finance committee meetings, workshops, and board meetings held February 23rd, March 22nd, March 30th, and April 19th. The budget schedule was made available online in the newspaper, and in the office to encourage public attendance. Staff made changes as recommended by the board throughout the process, and various draft budgets were made available to the public for review on the district website, in agenda packages, and in the district offices.
Thank you, Mr. Bartz. At this time, we will open the public hearing up for public comments.
There are no members of the general public on Zoom. Are there any members of the audience that would like to report or to provide comment on this agenda item? Okay, there is none.
All right, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move that we close the public hearing.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
I declare the public hearing closed at 6:31 PM. Thank you. All right, moving on to 6B, discussion and possible adoption of resolution 2022-18, adopting the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. Mr. Bart.
Thank you. Ms. Lawrence is going to take this item.
Yes, the board has discussed in a hearing process. The board has reviewed the draft budget at several meetings. The schedule was made available online in the newspaper and in the office to encourage public attendance. Staff made changes as recommended by the board throughout the process, and the various draft budgets were made available to the public for review on the district website, in agenda packages, and in the district office. Staff is recommending that the board adopt resolution 2022-18 for the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Thank you very much. Do any board members have questions or comments? Mark?
Page 43, big 43.
You got it. Beat me to it.
Is this solid waste and recycling statement appropriate and applicable based on our last meeting?
At this time, our notice of intent to comply was accepted and approved by the state. And so we are in compliance as of this moment.
Is this statement, this paragraph at the bottom of page 43 for solid waste and recycling, is it accurate based on the information that the board received last meeting? The company, are we working closely with the contractual haulers, CR&R, to help accomplish the tasks, recycling programs, et cetera?
Yes, we had a meeting this morning with Brent from CR&R, and also with their new general manager they've had out here for a few weeks. His name is Brandon. I don't remember the last name. They are moving forward with this. I think that we are getting a lot of the issues that we had resolved. And we have a meeting scheduled for later, it's about 2 weeks from now, with one of the managers from corporate for CR&R. One of the things that we've also talked about doing is having monthly meetings for the solid waste committee to make sure that we stay on track. But we have, I think, taken steps in the right direction to get to where we need to be.
So then the statement is appropriate.
Yes, I believe it's correct.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. No. Deborah?
No, nothing for myself. I'm happy you got that. Thank you.
All right, Charlie?
Since we're already on page 43, stay on page 43. Just above the solid waste and recycling, Ms. Ranch, you've got a printing problem. Their district profile is a subtitle that shouldn't be there.
Thank you. There are a few items like that throughout the document.
You and I had a conversation. We want it to be really nice. But
and also, I wanted to remind the board too, since we're on the subject, that the statistical data in the document is not necessarily up to date yet because we haven't received some of the final documents. For example, I've been trying to get some information from the county, but the county indicators report apparently is something that's not going to be used anymore. So I'm working through other channels to try to get the data. so that we can update the information in the board packet. But those are statistical data. It's not pertinent to our budgetary numbers.
So you'll modify that later.
Of course, yes.
Thank you. In the section above that, street lighting, Parks and Recreation, I wonder, the only thing that's missing from that, it seems to me, and it's just a suggestion, it's not a requirement on my part, but there's no mention of the certified farmers market. I thought maybe that might be something would be for consideration.
This section talks about what we're tasked with, our services that we're tasked with. The farmer's market is mentioned in the departmental section.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Beginning in page, let's see here.
No, I saw it the other place too. I just wanted.
Yeah, we talk about those types of details in the departmental sections.
Okay, that's fine. Not a huge thing. On page 32, in the middle of the page, there's a conversation. It's state of California experienced another drought, that conservation initiatives resumed. And this is not something that I want to change the budget package, but I would like to suggest an action item that the board consider that we reestablish conservation initiatives as we go forward. So something to put on a future agenda conversation. That's all.
Okay.
And if anybody notices anything, just give me a call so I can correct it.
Thank you. Anything else, Charlie?
Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot my mouse, so scrolling is interesting. Page 49. You're going to get tired of me saying this, but in page 49, item 3.0, I still don't want us to forget about what I'm calling 3.8, which is research, an action item for future research on de minimis residential waivers. Just because I need to point that out every time. It's you obviously know it's a thing with me. So, okay, page 63. We'll get there before I will. Under benefits, there's a new benefit that we have this year, and I just wondered if it was worthy of notation, Ms. Lawrence, the health reimbursement account that Mr. Nolan has been working on. Would that be appropriate to add to that?
I'll have to discuss that with our HR person and see what she thinks about it.
Yeah, lean over and ask him. Okay. Because it's a benefit as far as I know. And by the way, I love it. Also on page 78, same ad nauseum comment about under 2022 and 2023 goals on the strategic plan about de minimis residential waivers. Are you sick of me saying that yet? I'm sorry, but I just don't want us to forget that. Page 83, in the section just above, the last couple of paragraphs just above non-operational income. Statement is made there, property taxes are on district-owned properties that are not within the district boundaries. I didn't think we had any of those. I thought we annexed all those properties outside.
I believe the only one we have is well 14, which is outside of the district boundaries.
Okay, so that's specifically, that's the only one. Right, exactly. That would make sense.
Did we incorporate the far northern property? Or did we did not include, did we incorporate that into our
the 3 degree properties?
Pardon?
We
The
annexed
3
that.
dairy properties we did annex. Our sphere of influence goes up the finger into El Mirage.
Okay. I
And then the
couldn't
3
remember
properties
what
are-
We
went
annexed
across-
those, we annexed those two parcels.
Across the highway.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
But I forgot, I keep forgetting about well 14, sorry. Thank you for that, Mr. Bartz. Page, we're getting close, guys. Page 91. And this was a kind of a graphical problem. If you look at the green wedge at the bottom. Oh, crap. The solid waste, some of the data got clobbered, Ms. Morantz.
Yes, I see that. It's missing the percentage and the value.
Oh. Okay, sorry. The next page was page 92. Similar problem in the green wedge. It's hard to read. And maybe you can move that around a little bit. Page 114. Well, I already called you about this one. This has to do with the water rights. In the body of that first paragraph, it says the ramp down is currently 65%, actually it's 60, but we've already had that conversation. So I just want to point out that was incorrect. Page 142 and last page. Oh, that's different. Never mind. That's outside of, that's on another item. So that's all the comments I have on regarding the budget. Thank you for your patience, but I just want this to be glow in the dark perfect.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, do we have a motion?
I'll move the approval of the budget.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve the budget, say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you. All right, 6C, update on the proposed Civic Center and Phelan Park expansion. Mr. Barks.
There's no update tonight.
6D, update on the status of negotiations for the consolidation of Sheep Creek. Mr. Barks.
Yes, thank you. You've probably seen it. It was handed out tonight on July 23rd. We're going to have a kind of a public meeting in the park so everybody can get the scoop on what's happening with the consolidation. We've invited members from the State Water Resources Board who are going to be in attendance. One of the complaints that we've heard in the community was that people were not allowed to even really see who they were or talk to them or ask any questions. So we did invite them and they did accept the invitation to come down for that. So it should be should hopefully good in attendance, and the flyers will be sent out to all of our customers with the bills, and the Sheep Creek customers will be mailed to the Sheep Creek customers also.
Okay, awesome.
I want to say thank you for bringing my suggestion forward while I was out.
You're welcome.
And do you, I'm sorry, I think you had mentioned this earlier. Do you have a plan for like how we're going to handle like the questions? Are they going to do them beforehand?
Yes, as of right now, we have an email set up so people can ask questions in advance. I assume there will be a lot of questions that are similar. So we're hoping to pick those off and prepare in advance to answer those questions. And it's to be determined, but I would assume we would probably take some questions from the community, from the live audience at the same time.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
How are we, at the risk of getting mired in the muck of Facebook, there's a couple of Facebook pages that deal with Sheep Creek issues, and I'm wondering if we shouldn't just post the announcement there.
I can promise you that somehow, some way, everybody in the community that wants to be aware of it will be aware of it. Whether
Why
we
not?
post it to the page or not,
You don't want
I'm
them
not
to
sure.
Why post it to that page? They'll find out through us. And if they're gonna get things in their mailbox, we don't have to use social media to do that.
How are they going to get things in the mailbox?
Well, so we are going to mail to each and every customer, ours and Sheep Creek's. And if I'm not sure who the administrators on those pages are, but I'm sure that information will be out for the entire community and they will probably migrate over to those pages at some point.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to share it.
Yeah, we want as many people to attend and be informed. They need to see what the whole consolidation project looks like and be able to ask questions.
Can we have it on the banner thing here on our sign?
We
Could
could
possibly fix
probably,
there?
I think we could probably do that too.
At least like the week before.
All right. Any other questions on that?
When we had this conversation, there was a discussion, I guess, for lack of a better term, of some ground rules that, as far as the district is concerned and for Sheep Creek, that there be a single point of contact for questions and answers. That we don't have a free for all among the board members. I'm not worried about our board members because we already have a policy that says you're the spokesperson. But I am concerned about a free for all from other areas.
I would expect that it will be a fairly controlled environment and it won't be a free for all. I would expect there will be a large shareholder who will probably want to participate in this. And we'll also invite their general manager to be up there on the stage to answer any questions that people might have of him.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to number 7, committee reports. Antelope Valley
Nothing.
Engineering.
Minutes are in the packet. We have not had one for June. Well, today's the 1st, so. If you have any questions on the minutes, be happy to try to answer them.
I think everybody looks good. All right. Finance Committee.
Meet for 2 months.
All right. Legislative.
Our minutes from our last meeting are in the packet, and we had our legislative days up in Sacramento. And they went over a lot of the issues we're facing. Big one they still have to face on the federal level is there's no definition of what a community service district is in any of the federal stuff. So that's still a battle that's being faced.
Park and Rec, nothing new since the last time that we met. And Waste and Recycling.
We meet next week.
We do. Perfect. All right. Item 8, Staff and General Managers Report. Mr. Burks.
Yes, the only thing I'd like to add to the report is one of the issues that staff is dealing with is a number of customers who have ongoing leaks. And when I talk about a leak, it's something where your water never shuts off for a period of months. You're getting notified. So we are going to be looking a little bit closer at that. We have anywhere over the past 6 months from approximately 30 to almost 70 customers per month during that time that have what we consider probably water wasting leaks. So we will be looking at our conservation ordinance. And I think that we need to start applying a little bit more pressure to get some of these leaks stopped. Some of the people just totally ignore it. We talk to them, we notify them, we send them letters, and they say, okay, thanks. And we get no more response from that. So we're going to start looking at ways to improve the response from the people who are on that list.
Good idea.
Yeah, definitely. You think that the financial situation would be a reason to want to fix your leak. Yeah.
Yeah, and it very well could be.
There you go. All right, moving on to 9 directors' reports. Charlie?
Nothing.
Deborah?
I attended the legislative days up in Sacramento. And again, they went over a lot of the bills that we're facing. Ones that didn't make it, ones that hopefully will move forward. Ones in particular were Water infrastructure for firefighting, HR, for the federal is HR 3728. Possibly on the federal would be FEMA improvement and reform efficiencies for fire would be S 3029. And there's other ones in those areas as well, but those are the two that would really be pertinent to us, would be the fire and water being tied to that.
Okay. Mark?
Nothing. further.
Kathy?
Nothing, I went to legislative days as well, but sorry.
She covered it. All right. And I have nothing new to report. So moving on to number 10, correspondence and information. Ms. Ward?
Yes, so we have our billing schedule. And of course, every now and then we like to remind our customers of all the ways they can pay their bill. We have our flyer for the family movie nights in the park, and you can see all of the fun movies we're gonna have. Also, our summer fun flyer is out there. So we have dancing in the park, archery, painting in the park, baking classes, Ninja Warrior, and of course, movies. And then, as discussed earlier, we have our town hall and ice cream social in the park on August 6, 2022. And in a different part of the packet, it had the consolidation, get the scoop on consolidation flyer, which is coming up in July.
All right. Anyone have any questions on any of those? Okay, so number 11, review of action items. Did we have any prior meeting action items?
1 second, let me get to my notes. Yes, we had several. The technical memorandum was distributed to the board. The, of course, town hall for consolidation was scheduled. 6H to be brought back to the next meeting. That was regarding the application to submit for Dawn to be allowed to submit the application for funding. We're not quite ready to bring that back yet, so that's why it wasn't on this agenda. And then the solid waste rates, those will be coming to the next meeting.
And were there any current meeting action items?
No.
Okay. What?
Well, there's lots of ministerial things with the budget and things like that. I have not recorded a request for anything. Did I miss something?
Yeah,
What was it?
I don't remember.
I'll go back and review the meeting and I will note it. I apologize.
All right, thank you. And number 12, setting agenda for next meeting. Does anyone have any items they would like to add?
No.
Everybody's so quiet tonight.
I would like to say Director Johnson, I believe, had an agenda item to be brought back related to conservation, which we will be bringing back our stage 2 conservation ordinance at the
That's the
next
one.
meeting for public hearing and possible adoption.
That's the one.
So,
There you go. Perfect, thank you.
yes. Along with, this is exciting, the presentation of our art contest winners.
Oh.
Yes.
Nice. All right, so if there is no further business before the board, we will adjourn at 6:53 p.m. Thank you.